Most people get it all wrong when they think about making their first $1 million. But when you know the truth, then you know what target to aim at, and because of that, you're far more likely to reach that goal. Let me give you an example. Most people think that if they get into a business and their business makes $1 million, that they're a millionaire. But that is not the case. Anybody who's done it knows that that is grossly wrong. After you take out the expenses and the taxes and everything else, you're really not left with much. In fact, I know businesses that gross $1 million, and after all is said and done, they're left with less than $400,000 to their bottom line. And the owner might be able to take out maybe half of that for himself or herself, right? So grossing $1 million in your business is not the answer. And for those of you who have companies that net $1 million to you, meaning that you as the owner can take $1 million from distributions from your company, you know that after personal taxes, because once you take money out of your business and you put it into your personal account, you have to pay even more taxes on it. And after all that, you're definitely not left with $1 million either. So to make your first $1 million, I'm going to suggest that you get really smart. So you make a lot of money and you keep it. So I want to give you 3 rules for making your first $1 million and 3 rules for keeping as much of it as you possibly can. Now, if this is the very first time you're watching one of my videos, hit the subscribe button and also the bell notification, because every single week I upload more videos about how to grow your business faster and more predictably and in a way that generates far, far more profit for you. Now, rule number 1 for making your first $1 million is to find something that you love, that you are good at. And this does not mean that you should follow your passion, because most people's passion is just too hard to monetize. But it's much easier to be persistent with something long enough to make a lot of money with it if you love it. And we usually love what we're good at. So find something that you love, that you're good at. And if you can't figure that out, or if you want a more creative solution, or if you already have a business and you want creative ways to scale that much faster, then travel more. And then look at how businesses like yours are doing things in other countries, and look at other industries. Then look for ways to leverage what you learn from them to develop something inside of your company that makes you unique, or to scale the company that you already have. Because many of the very best businesses and the best ideas were already being done somewhere else. And somebody saw it and they pulled that idea over to their business. And since it was brand new to their industry, they flourished. Now, rule number 2 is to learn from people who have already made a lot of money doing that thing that you're focused on. The very first thing that I do when I want to grow a business is to find people who are doing what I want to do, who are already successful, and to find a way to learn what they know. That might be studying them or their company, or it might be hiring them as a coach, or it might mean taking them out to lunch and asking them if I could pick their brain, or maybe sharing information for information, meaning that they share what I want to know with me, and then I, in exchange, share maybe something that they want to know with them. And you don't need a lot of money or special skills to do this. You could study somebody's company for free or for very little money by becoming a customer of theirs and watching how they handle a sale, or how they onboard a prospect, or how they communicate with their customers, right? You just watch things, keep your eyes open. Or you could read books and watch videos like this one by business leaders who have already made a lot of money and had a lot of success in business. Now, rule number 3 is to do everything you can to become great at whatever you decide you're going to do to make money. There's zero secret sauce in making your first $1 million. There is zero shortcut. You decide on a path, you find somebody who's already walked that path, preferably many times, you learn from them, and then you bust your butt to become great on that path. And when I'm talking about finding somebody who's already walked the path, that could also spread out into aligning with people who are great at subsets inside of your business, meaning maybe they're great at sales, or they're great at marketing, or they're great at customer support, or they're great at management, or whatever it is, because you could shortcut your success curve from 10 years to 1 year, or from 1 year to a month by becoming a great leader of smart people. And I've made videos about how to be a better leader and how to develop leadership teams. But in short, every single rock star you align with and everyone that you add to your team can shave years off of your growth. And those rock stars do not have to be high-paid employees. So if you don't have a lot of money, or you're starting out as a solopreneur, you can still do this. They could be vendors or independent contractors who are great at what they do and who can help you become great on your particular path. In fact, the companies who scale the fastest from 0 to $1 million, or from $1 million to $10 million, have grown fast because the person at the helm has been willing to delegate certain tasks to other people, qualified people. Now, obviously, if you choose the wrong path, then making money is going to be a struggle. Like if you love, making eggs, and you're the absolute best at it, but you can't find anybody who's ever made money making eggs before, then you're forced to cut your own path. You can still do it, but I would suggest you find something that you're great at that you can monetize in a big way, because I think you'll be a lot happier. Now, you also need to know how to keep your money. And I'm going to give you, a couple of tips here, but I'm not going to give you accounting advice or legal advice. I mean, you definitely need to get legal and accounting advice before you do anything that you learn here, anywhere else. But I do want to share a few things with you, because I've lost a tremendous amount of money in business early on, and I learned a lot of lessons along the way. So I guess I paid for a big education, and those lessons have made me a lot more money, and they allowed my companies to now keep much more of what we make. And the very first lesson is that you need to set up the right kind of business with the right kind of paperwork, because the wrong kind of business, like a sole proprietorship or a general partnership, is going to be, number one, more heavily taxed. But more importantly, if you ever get sued, you could lose everything, even your personal savings. Like they give you no protection. Our rule of thumb is that every entity we begin starts with a meeting with both my attorney, who's there to protect me legally, and my CPA, who's there to protect us from a tax standpoint. Neither one of them have the final say, but both have protected me massively over the years. And more than likely, the people that you work with in both of those areas are going to guide you probably to an LLP or an LLC or a corporation, depending on what your situation is. But as a person leading that meeting, you need to be in charge of making sure that they stay focused on protecting both your company and you. You have to make sure they're protecting both you and your company, especially if you're going to be starting a partnership. Because if you don't have the right paperwork in place in a partnership, there's a freaking lot that could go wrong. So the right kind of entity and the right paperwork is vital to keep the money that you make in business. But I said I was going to give you 3 ways to keep your money. That was just one. The second one is to reinvest in your growth. Because think about this for a second. If a company makes $1 million a year and has no expenses, they owe taxes on the full $1 million, right? But that never really happens, because we have a lot of expenses that we need to account for before we pay taxes, which is why you need a great accountant. Because if you have $1 million in revenue and let's just say $500,000 in expenses, you're only paying taxes on the $500,000 that's left over in most cases. So part of this game is to become really smart about reinvesting in your growth, and an accountant will help you. Meaning that if you have, let's say, $1 million left over after taxes, and you could invest a portion of that into legitimate ways to grow your company, then you're going to owe taxes on far less money. Like, let's say marketing. What if I took a portion of that $1 million in my company and I invested it into buying Facebook ads or Google ads or radio ads or TV ads? The money I spent would be subtracted from what my revenue was before I pay taxes on it. But that money spent wisely could turn into a lot more money next year. That same could be true, depending on your business, for consulting. If you have a big tax burden at the end of the year, meaning you made a lot of money, now you owe a lot of taxes, and you hire a great consultant, then whatever you pay them, again, this is for your accountant to have the final say with, but whatever you pay them would come out of your revenue before you calculate your taxes. But I've hired consultants who have helped me 10x my bottom line. So was it worth it? Hell yeah. A lot of times it was worth it. The third way to keep your money is, and by the way, there's a lot more than just 3 ways, but I want to give you the 3 that I see most people making, and the easiest 3, I believe. The third way is to invest your money into smart places automatically. So as you grow your income, a portion of all that income goes somewhere that earns more money for you, like maybe a tax-deferred Roth IRA or something like that. The idea is you focus on what you're good at, right? And then you learn to make the most money doing it. And then you protect your money and allow it to work for you so that it grows in value so that you could keep focusing on what you're good at, right? It's that circle, that life circle in business. A lot of people tell you that your first $1 million is the hardest, but geez, the truth is that making your first million is just like anything else in life. If you set yourself on the right path and you're willing to work for it, you'll get it. And you'll get there far quicker if you don't try to cheat the system. That's why most people get stuck, because they try to cheat it. Now, if you're a subscriber and you've seen most of my other videos, you know that this was a bit basic compared to what I normally cover here. But let me know in the comments what you think. And if you have any tips on how to make your first million, whether that's your first gross million or your first net million or the first million that you actually pocket after taxes, let me know. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the notification bell now so that you never miss a video when I put it out. Go ahead, subscribe and hit the bell notification, and then click on the next video right over here.